Hi, I'm Wendy.
And hi, I'm Phil, and we're part of the shift team at Burley.
We're in the middle of a major renovation of our house, as you can see. We're going to be sharing a little bit of our renovation journey, alongside exploring our new shift theme, Extreme Makeover Heart Edition. Well, the story goes back a few years. We have 4 children, and when they were growing up, we had a really big house, 5-bedroomed house. They eventually all left. We downsized, which was the right thing at the time. But then we realised, it was okay for us. But then 6 grandchildren came along, and one of our children lives with us part of the year because of her job. She's come back to live with us. So we thought it was time maybe to look for another house. Phil, what were our non-negotiables?
Yeah, well, that's true. When you start looking for a house, it has to be a home, and we needed 4 bedrooms. So we can accommodate everybody, and we love gardening.
Absolutely.
So we needed a garden. And we love Burley. All our friends are here, and our church community is here. So we want to stay in Burley.
Definitely.
So those were our non-negotiables, really.
And when the house was finally ours, was that it?
No. It needed lots of work to it. Because the house had been lived in for a long time by the previous owners, and they'd configured it to meet their needs.
They had.
And we now needed to look at that and see how we would be adapting it to meet our needs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And when we were doing the adaptation, what was the biggest job, would you say?
I think it's in this room here. There was a wall just about where that hole is there that came right across. So this was the kitchen. We are standing in what was the kitchen, and the other bit is where there was a lounge. And we needed to knock that wall down, but it was a load-bearing wall, so we've had to have RSJs put in there. It's been a lot of fun.
And a lot of mess.
Absolutely, loads and loads of mess. So that's definitely our biggest job.
Yeah, well, it's going to be worth it.
It is, absolutely. Yeah. Okay.
Welcome. Isn't it great to be following Wendy and Phil on the story of their house renovation? I know it's a lot more fun for me to watch them than it was when I was in the thick of it myself. Here is a picture of my home last September when we were knocking down a wall to allow more space and light into our living area. I was not near as calm as they were when I was going through it, as my close friends will attest, I'm sure. But we're not just here to talk about houses, but a renovation of the heart. If someone asked you, what are the load-bearing walls in your inner life? The things that hold things together for you inside, what would you say to them? Drop a comment below if you want to share. I've been reading a book by Dallas Willard, and he gives a really helpful summary of some of the things that structure our mental life and the impact that they have on the structure of our whole lives. The first one is ideas. These are our ways of thinking about the world. For example, one idea might be that to be loved, you need to be physically flawless. How would an idea like that structure your life and the way that you treat yourself? Another idea is that to be accepted, you need to be busy and productive all the time. How does that kind of idea structure your home life and relationships? There could be an idea that the world is a fundamentally dangerous place and that people can never be trusted. What happens if you hold to an idea that being a good person is rewarded with a good life, free of suffering, or that hard work always pays off? Does that load-bearing wall stand in times of crisis in the face of loss and human suffering? So there are ideas and there are images. There are images and they're closely related to ideas. They're those pictures that you have in your head. I say a word like clown and some of you will get a big smile as you remember a fun birthday party. Others will get a shiver as you remember a horror movie. What about snow? Delight or disruption? Scientists, how you see them will have an impact on your response to a crisis of health or of climate. Your image of immigrants or children or the elderly of the opposite gender. Your image of other people will structure your ideas around them and the way that you relate to them. The same goes for your image of God. If your image of God is an angry deity eager to punish, or an aloof and uncaring guy up there, that would affect your faith. Ideas, images, and then information. Whether true information or false information, it shapes the other two. For example, for generations, society believed that the sun and moon revolve around the earth. All of the planets, the stars did as well. The information that was available to them shaped that idea and their images of the universe. The information that is available to you and to me has shaped our ideas and images as well. We start developing these ideas from early in our lives. I've even heard that a person's worldview is basically established by the age of 5. I don't know if that's true, but there is one thing that I do know. It is not easy to change a mindset or a way of thinking, but it is possible. It is not too late to make a mind shift change in your life. Because along with ideas and images and information, there is something else. Intelligence. And I don't mean that in the academic sense of being a calculus pro, but intelligence as in the ability that we have to think critically about the other three: ideas, images, information, so that we're not at the mercy of what we've always been told, or of how we've seen things, or how we've always understood the world. We have the capacity to say, actually, some of the things that have been structuring my life for a long time, it's time for them to go. That wall has got to fall. Knock down the right wall at the right time, and the transformation is every bit worth it. It can give you space you never knew you had, not just in a house, but in your capacity for living deeply. It can let light into spaces that were shadowy before, enabling you to see things differently, not just in your kitchen or in your dining room, but with the eyes of your heart. Nelson Mandela offers an example in the change that he triggered in the hearts of South African people. He had this to say about the possibility of a fundamental mindset change in even the hardest of hearts. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love. For love comes more naturally to the human heart than its opposite. And so it's possible. Possible, not easy, and like Phil and Wendy said, it can be messy. When Galileo brought his intelligence to weigh against the information and images and ideas of his day, it cost him his freedom. And whether we are challenging mindsets in society or in our own souls, it is a challenging and risky construction project. It will take intention. Personal transformation seldom happens by accident. A renovation of the heart will only happen if you want it to happen. It will take a clear vision of what you want to knock down and why. Sometimes that's clear, sometimes it'll take a bit of trial and error. I remember when we were building a base for our conservatory. I stopped the builders halfway through at one stage because I changed my mind about where the doorway should go. And so they duly stopped what they were doing, made another doorway. Once they had bricked up the first one, I realized it was the wrong decision. And so Bruce had to, or chose to, knock down a wall that had been up for less than a day. It wasn't easy, but it was worth it. Especially as far as my dog was concerned, when her view of the garden was restored. Taking the time to decide what you want your life to look like before you start deconstructing anything is a very good idea. It will take clear steps and a strategy. And over the next few weeks, on the first and third Sunday of the month, we're going to be offering some steps for inner transformation as we follow this Shift series. For a transformational life to be one that is structurally sound, every wall that you knock down will need something in its place. If you're going to take a hammer to resentment, maybe it's forgiveness. If you're demolishing prejudices within you, maybe it's new acceptance and relationship with people who are different. I wonder, what do you need to install in your inner world to ensure that you're left standing steady when you start breaking unhealthy or unhelpful patterns of thinking? When we were planning our own renovation, there wasn't a builder we called up for quotes who didn't start by asking if we'd had an engineer round yet. No one wanted to pick up tools before making absolutely sure that this would be structurally sound. Wendy and Phil showed us their RSJs and how they were holding up this house. It all reminds me of a story not too different from the Three Little Pigs. I've often had to ask which of my ideas are like the sticks and straws of those three little pigs, ready to fall in the face of big bad wolves, or life-changing events, or moments of surprise. It reminds me also of two guys who build a house, one on sand and one on a firm foundation. When the rain comes, you know which one stands. Speaking from a personal perspective, there has only ever been one thing capable of stretching from one end of my life to the other to hold me steady no matter what happens. And it's not a beam of reinforced steel and concrete, but two wooden beams. They reach to my lowest lows and draw me into the highest highs and surround me on the left and the right. So as we move into this new series, I'd love you to hear a song that sums up what renovating the heart is all about for me, from a personal faith perspective. Maybe you want to listen to the words, maybe you want to sing along, maybe you want to grab another cuppa and enjoy the music in the background. If there's anything that came to mind while you watched this session, maybe a thought pattern, an idea, or an image that you are ready to knock down, perhaps you could grab a journal or a piece of paper and write it down. Give some thought to the vision of what you want your inner life to look like. And ask yourself if you're ready to make some changes. We'll see you again in a fortnight. Stay safe, stay kind, stay hopeful.
Take me, make me all you want me to be. That's all I'm asking, all I'm asking. Welcome to this heart of mine I've buried under prideful vines, grown to hide the mess I've made inside of me. Come decorate, Lord, and open up the creaking door and walk upon the dusty floor. Escape away the guilty stain until no sin or shame remain. Spread your love upon the walls and occupy the empty halls until the man I am has faded. No more doors are barricaded. Come inside this heart of mine. It's not my own. Make it home. Come and take this heart and make it all your own. Welcome home. Take a seat, pull up a chair, forgive me for the disrepair and the souvenirs from floor to ceiling, gathered on my search for meaning. Every closet's filled with clutter, messes yet to be discovered. I'm overwhelmed, I understand, I can't make this place all that you can. Come inside this heart of mine. It's not my own. Make it home. Come and take this heart of mine. It's not my own. Welcome home. Come inside this heart of mine. It's not my own. Make it home. Come and take this heart and make it all your own. Welcome, welcome, welcome home. Take me, make me all you want me to be. That's all I'm asking. All I'm asking.